everybody, and welcome to What's the Buzz, a program of all of the great things that are happening at the Attleboro Council on Aging, located at 25 South Main Street. Back with me this morning is Alyssa Altrui, one of the members of our outreach team, and we're going to focus on caregivers today and their loved ones, and tell you what's going on at the COA around caregiving. So it's good to see you again, Alyssa. Thanks for coming back.
No, thanks for inviting me. This is excellent.
Even on this cold day.
So cold. We should have hot cocoa in these mugs.
We should. We should tell our friends at AACS. Maybe they need a cocoa machine.
Hint, hint, guys. We need a cocoa bar. That would be great.
So Alyssa has taken on the facilitation of our monthly support group. So we're going to start with that, and then we'll move into something that we've started at the COA called Memory Cafes. And we'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. So
excellent.
Let's chat about our support group. For people that might not be familiar with it, Alyssa, what is a caregiver support group?
So caregiver support is a monthly meeting that we do. It's a safe space for caregivers to come and share their experiences, get feedback from other caregivers who may have been through the same experiences or have cared for a loved one who is in the same state of cognitive decline as other caregivers are working with. It's just a really supportive environment for these caregivers to take an hour of respite for themselves, come in, be able to seek support from a group that has shared experience, and be able to leave hopefully with a little weight lifted off their shoulders, because caregiving is an incredibly isolating job, if you will. I mean, it's just people feel the loneliness and separation from others because life becomes so entrenched in making sure that the person they're caring for has all of their needs met.
And it really runs the gamut, because we have caregivers that attend. It may not necessarily be caregivers that are caring for loved ones with Alzheimer's disease or related dementia.
Sure.
I mean, it could be
Parkinson's. It could be some other physical ailment. It could be a wife caring for a veteran husband who may have amputation and what have you to deal with. So it's not just geared towards caregivers who are working with those that have the cognitive decline. There's also the physical component of it. And it can be very stressful for these caregivers who don't have other support within their circle.
How would somebody know if our caregiver support group or any caregiver support group is right for them? So
my general recommendation is for someone to come and see the group in action. Come to a meeting. Meet the folks that come to the meeting on a monthly basis. Get to know some folks. If it feels right, we definitely want you to come back. If it doesn't feel right for you in our environment, I am more than happy to help someone find another support group within the community or within the surrounding communities where they might feel more comfortable. But it is a very welcoming group. It is a safe table, so anything that is shared at the table stays within the meeting. There is definitely a high priority to keep information confidential. We do ask that our attendees sign in when they come to the meetings, and then if they have never attended before, a phone number and a email address, because there are times where I receive helpful information that gets emailed to the group. We had a really great article come through Aging Care about New Year's resolutions for caregivers, and there was a big focus on don't beat yourself up if what you're trying to do does not come out the way you think it will. Any care that you're providing is good care. And that was really helpful for some folks to kind of just take a step back and, okay, I'm doing the best I can, and It's going to be okay if there are missteps along the way, or if there are things that might go unnoticed and someone else picks up on it. No one is perfect in this world, and caregiving there's just so much to it.
There really is. And sometimes people can pick up tips. It's amazing to me that within the confines of a support group that they pick up little helpful hints that may work in their particular situation, but another caregiver hasn't necessarily tried, and it really kind of helps to empower them.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of guilt associated for a lot of caregivers, because they're overwhelmed and they really are reluctant to put their loved one in a long-term care facility, even adult day services. Yeah,
there is definitely that that feeling of guilt that, I am turning my back on my loved one. And it really kind of boils down to the caregiver needing respite. And caregiver fatigue is such a real topic and real issue for these folks. Any sort of respite is good for you to get out of the house. So we really do encourage folks to look into whether there's a home health aide that might be able to sit with their loved one for a couple of hours, even a week, just to go grocery shopping. I don't know about you, but I like going grocery shopping by myself. So, that's me. But even just to be able to take that time to come to the support group and be able to share those feelings of guilt, those feelings of loneliness. Because there are some caregivers who feel it's very shameful. I shouldn't feel this way about caring for my husband, for my wife, for my mother, for my sister. But it's a burden that we take on because as caregivers, this is what we do. And
not be judged for it in this kind of a setting.
Yeah, there is definitely no judgment within the group. It is very much a platform for these caregivers to seek the feedback. And you're right about, different tips and tricks, different coping skills that might work for you.
Very important.
That I haven't tried. Even different skills or activities that might work for the different dynamics. Maybe with my sister, we connect over music. Maybe with my husband, we connect over Wheel of Fortune, even though I'm the only one answering the trivia questions. Just being able to kind of find those common grounds and then build from there.
And we have folks that actually return after their loved one has passed away.
We do, yep. And that speaks volumes that there's still that support beyond caregiving, that the grief process that comes with caregiving when the individual you're caring for passes away, that grief does linger. And sometimes it's very helpful for folks to get that out onto the table. This has been a really tough month for me because we used to go to New York to see, the lighting of the tree in Rockefeller Center, or, Easter's coming, and this was a big month for us. We had lots of family. Different times of year will definitely evoke different feelings for those who have left the caregiving environment but are still trying to find their place.
Sure.
Trying to find their place in the world after they have stopped caregiving.
And if memory serves, you had not chosen to have a speaker or any kind of formal program around the December holidays to be able to have that kind of laid back environment for people to just be if they wanted to come. What did that look like? How was that a little bit different than one of our other support groups on each month?
With the ending of the group from November, the members that come to this group were given some information to kind of read through about getting through the holiday season with loved ones who may have the cognitive declines of Alzheimer's and dementia, or just getting through the holidays with family, being a caregiver, and also having to be in charge of your caregiving duties. I believe we had 3 or 4 attendees, and it was just a very peaceful environment to kind of discuss what everyone was going through, We actually had one of our long-term members come and talk about how she had finally made the decision for her husband to go into long-term care, and those feelings that came along with it.
What was associated with that in terms of that particular caregiver making the decision? Was there a turning point in her relationship with her loved one?
So there definitely was a turning point, and I feel that this happens with a lot of folks that experience cognitive decline. There comes a point where, as a caregiver, the loved one that you're assisting may not be so nice, and words are exchanged, and it's hurtful as a caregiver to think that, you know, your spouse or your parent feels this way about you. I think it was kind of a combination of those feelings with the fact that this gentleman did need more care than she was able to provide. Because if you're not sleeping at night because you're worried about where someone might be wandering,
exactly,
it really does take a toll on you mentally. So it's always good sometimes to just kind of have those meetings where we're not focused on one particular topic or working with one particular speaker, and just kind of have those laid back moments where folks can share those experiences and feel validated.
It really is challenging with the situations, as you mentioned, with cognitive decline. No matter what type of dementia it is, the person is typically significantly different than they used to be, even though they can't control how they're behaving, so to speak. Not that anybody's a child, but the behaviors are real. And some of the quietest people, my grandmother was one of those. I remember that well, that she could swear like a sailor when she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And it got a little sticky.
It can be really uncomfortable. I have to say, everyone that does come to the group is really managing well with the support that they receive. And I actually did just hear from another member of the group that they have sought outside support through a therapist to kind of help move through those feelings as well. And I will put it out there, I feel like everyone on this planet could benefit from a therapist now and again. It's always nice to have someone to bounce those ideas off of.
It is. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely a proactive move.
So if somebody wanted to attend the support group, what would they do? Could they drop in?
Absolutely.
Call you? What does that look like?
So realistically, our meetings take place on the third Wednesday of every month, unless there's some sort of change in the schedule, in which we do make sure folks are alerted. If folks want to drop in, they're more than welcome. Folks can call and, just let front desk know, hey, I'm going to be there for the meeting. Or they can reach out to me directly at extension 1902. Once the individuals part of the group, they then have email contact to be able to say, I would like to come in. But it's nothing formal where we really need the registration to happen before participation. It's always just nice to see who's able to make the time and come out to the group.
Yeah, because somebody could be having a bad day, or their loved one could be having a bad day. And you've been working on bringing speakers in from the other community partners. And that's been going well. Yes,
very, very well. With our next meeting in February, we do have a representative from Joyful Living, which is the local adult day health center, coming in to talk about what the program offers and how that support service might be helpful to some of our caregivers. In March, we do have a representative from the American Alzheimer's Association coming out, and we are going to do a workshop on managing those challenging behaviors that we see from those with cognitive decline. That seems to be a really big hot button issue. So I'm excited to see how that information changes the dynamics for some of these caregivers.
That will be.
I think it's going to be huge.
that will be interesting, because let's face it, if caregivers aren't able to take care of themselves and learn some of these coping mechanisms, how do they care for their loved one?
Exactly.
And we don't want to see anybody getting sick, declining because of caregiving, because there are resources that are out there, and it's okay to reach out and ask for help.
Absolutely.
However it's defined.
Absolutely.
One of the things that we're taking a look at, and for folks that aren't aware, viewers that aren't aware, the Council on Aging just completed a 3-year strategic plan, and one of the things that we are looking into and we will be implementing is actually having our own Zoom account and possibly having a virtual caregiver support group, because we know that if somebody's loved one isn't enrolled in adult day health or isn't in a facility, what do they do with their loved one?
Exactly.
They may not be able to get out. They may not have a health aide that can come in. So that is something that we're exploring. So if anybody is interested in that and they want to let us know, please feel free to reach out to us. And you can reach out to us at any time.
Absolutely.
774-203-1906 is our main number, and a member of the outreach team is there to answer any questions and support in any way that is identified.
Absolutely.
And one of the other things that we were fortunate to receive grant funding for, and that started just before you began at the COA, is memory cafes. And we're very excited to be able to do memory cafes. We've been doing it since July and holding those once a month, but we've been doing them out in the community. You know, you went to the one at the library with brain games.
Yes, that was fun.
And we started out right at the COA because we did our first craft project with the first program, and we did luminaries and asked the participants how they illuminated people's lives, and it was just remarkable. Just in terms of pure transparency, Alyssa and I both have been involved in adult day health in our careers, and it was a very meaningful time for me. Over 30 years. Oh, I don't even want to think about that. How many years were you in adult day health, Alyssa?
Just over 6.
And it really is remarkable to be able to witness some of the participants that come to adult day health. So this was kind of a mini adult day health that day that we did the luminaries, and just wonderful to be able to support participants and their caregivers during that first session. And then we moved on from there and we went out towards Berry Farm. And I'm not sure if you heard about that one, but it was, in concept, it was a fabulous idea. We thought, so wonderful. A lot of folks have been blueberry picking in their childhood or in their lives. And some of the things that we learned from that is it is most definitely a good thing to be able to go out and literally walk through what that visit is going to look like, not realizing that there wasn't parking that was close to the berry picking that they kind of had us in, so that we would have seating and be out of the sun. It was pretty far down a dirt road.
Oh, goodness.
So we learned a lesson there, but I have to tell you, the people that participated in that memory cafe, it was delightful to see people with their caregivers picking blueberries. We had blueberry smoothies after that Ward's Berry Farm made for us. It must have
evoked so many memories for these folks.
It did, and that's what we chatted about afterwards, to say, what did that look like for you as a child, whether they went around with a tin pail and went around and they were picking blueberries, or did they make blueberry pies, blueberry buckle. I remember my great-grandmother making a lot of blueberry buckle when I was a small child, and that was a whole lot of fun. We did build your own sundaes at Bliss Dairy.
Lovely.
I particularly enjoyed that one. And
Who doesn't love Bliss Dairy? I mean, really.
We partnered with one of the other city departments, the zoo. And that was probably one of the highlights, going out to the zoo, because some folks hadn't been there many years, and one of the caregivers, who happens to be one of our board members, was reminiscing about ice skating on where the, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly.
Where the lemurs are?
Thank you, lemurs. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, so he was very excited to be back in that space, and we did animal encounters. So the animals were brought right into the education area, and they also went on a tour. Courtney taped that, and it was put out on Facebook. And
Did you get to meet the otters? Did you get to meet the otters?
I didn't go on the tour. I stayed back in the education center doing the activities.
Oh, man.
But that was great. And since that time, we've kind of expanded that, and we're going to be doing another animal encounter, but we aren't bringing the animals into the COA. We're going to have our older adults go to the zoo so that they can be able to go throughout the zoo after the animal encounter. So that'll be a nice thing. And we finished the calendar year 2024 with a very lovely luncheon at Blackington Inn, and people really, really enjoyed that. We asked everybody that came to give us one of their favorite Christmas carols, and we had people of different faiths that attended, and everybody was participating in the level and comfort level that they wanted to or could, and we just had a grand old time. And I didn't realize at the time that Courtney was actually taping that on her phone, but that went out on Facebook as well.
That's outstanding.
And we took January off, but then we've got two we're kind of squeezing into the month of February.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about those?
Sure. So the first Memory Cafe that we have scheduled is for, I believe, the 20th.
That sounds right.
And we are going to be getting cozy. We are going to do some knitting activities. We're going to drink cocoa. And we're actually going to be having the Memory Cafe at the rec center so that while the children are on school vacation, we can bring the two generations together and work on this project together. I think it's really going to be exciting to see how enthusiastic the kids get around knitting with these looms and making something that they can bring home or making something that they can give to an older adult. It's really just, crafting is so wonderful, and I love the world of yarn, so this is a good thing.
That's what I understand. That's why we connected Alyssa with this Memory Cafe.
The world of yarn.
And then the other one is at the Arts Museum.
Yes, Hearts on Fire, which sounds absolutely fabulous. Learning about mosaic art and then actually completing mosaic art in the shape of a heart. And whatever medium that ends up being, just fantastic.
We're excited about that because not a lot of people have had a chance, maybe at all or recently, to be able to go to the Arts Museum. So that's going to be a fun time for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And Abby Rivaldi is who we're collaborating, the artist we're collaborating with over there for that event. So we're definitely looking forward to it. And as an aside, even though this isn't technically a Memory Cafe, we are planning a community gallery opportunity for older adults in Attleboro, and they're going to be featured in the gallery, and we want to do kind of an opening and have their loved ones come in. It could be all generations, so we're looking forward to that as well. And we should mention that in terms of identifying or defining what a Memory Cafe is, it's very different than, it's not a formal environment. It's very laid back, and it's kind of like what Alyssa was speaking about before in terms of the caregiver support group. People can just be themselves. It's a safe place, it's welcoming, it's very informal, an opportunity to share. The outcome or the end result is not what's important. It's about being with other folks that may be challenged with the same chronic illnesses.
Absolutely.
And the majority of which are memory impairments. So this is something that we're very, very thrilled to be a part of and hope to be able to continue. We'll see how this year goes. We'll go right through June is when we have the funding through. And we encourage everybody to really check out our newsletter. That's where we publicize everything, which is also on the city's website. So there's different ways of accessing what's coming up. Alternatively, you could give us a call or just stop in and see what is going on. So
absolutely. Or if you're not computer savvy, give the COA a call and we'll mail you a copy.
Definitely. And we do ask that this is a little bit different than the support group, and I should make mention of that, because if we are going into the community and collaborating with a community partner, we want to be mindful of being a guest and making reservations so everybody can prepare for however many attendees that there are. So
how far in advance should folks register?
They could, as soon as something is out in terms of flyers, and we post it on Facebook, and typically we try to have that a couple of weeks in advance.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Is there a cost to it? Do folks have to pay to participate?
There isn't right now, and we're fortunate to have that funding through Mass Councils on Aging, and that pays for the fees. They paid for the entry fees to the zoo, the animal encounters, the luncheon at Blackington Inn. So that was, it was a very nostalgic environment for a lot of the people that attended. Going forward, I'm not sure what that will look like. It'll depend on what kind of memory cafes we choose to do. Maybe we won't do them as frequently. Not really certain, but we'll definitely do an assessment of all of the memory cafes and get surveys back from participants and take it from there.
Outstanding.
But we're very excited about it.
I have a feeling that the Memory Cafe being held at the Art Museum is going to be nostalgic for anyone who is an Attleboro resident long term, because of where the location is and what the building used to be. I'm sure many remember London's. So. Mim
Foss was telling us, the executive director was telling us at a staff meeting that we had over there with the mayor, that there is something about a rocking horse.
There was a rocking horse in the store. My memories kind of just take me back to Easter, because that's where we had our pictures with the Easter Bunny taken. And it was 2 floors, and it was always a good time to go to London's.
Is that even done anymore? Easter bunnies? I'm not even sure if it is.
Maybe at malls, but I think, again, shopping malls are dying.
So true. Amazon needs to come out with them, I guess. Boy, we are down to the wire today.
Oh my goodness.
This really went by fast.
Wow.
I want to thank you for coming back on again today.
No worries.
Alyssa Altrui, outreach worker, member of the outreach team at the Attleboro Council on Aging, and I'm Kelly Lee, the director. And we're pleased to present all of this information to you today, and look forward to seeing you next time on What's the Buzz?